Ladies and gentlemen, we've arrived at one of the most important parts of this evening, the announcement of ACY's new global brand ambassador. He's a man who needs little introduction, one of Australia's greatest sportsmen, a player who captured the hearts of Socceroos fans and football fanatics around the world since he burst onto the international scene in 2004. Please take a minute to look back at the extraordinary career of ACY's new global brand ambassador, Tim Cahill.
And he's back in position for the throw, and the one goes away from him now. There's the goal! Tim Cahill, him again! Goals at 3 Asian Cups now, to go with goals at 3 World Cups. And Cahill go for the spectacular. What about that? What about that? The right cross, it's hung up towards Cahill, who wins it in the air. And Australia are level. Here comes Tim Cahill. Oh, what a response! Sensational volley from the pensioner of Tim Cahill. Australia back in business.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Tim Cahill. Please take a seat. Tim Cahill, congratulations on your amazing career.
Thank you very much.
It is so lovely to meet you. I've only ever seen you on TV, so I'm slightly starstruck at the moment. Sorry, everybody, I've only met him for the first time just now. You've been out of that world now, Tim, for 6 months? What's it been like making that transition?
Firstly, thank you for having me. Jimmy, Winston, the group, everyone that's been involved in this development for me to be here for ACY Securities. It's an amazing event, great people. As I said, Silicon Valley, Wall Street, I've seen it all. For me, it's been a great transition. I've had a great career, 23 years as a professional, 16 years old, left Australia, left school to go and follow my dreams as a footballer. You know, my parents got a loan and they said, son, you want to be a footballer? Away you go. 23 years later, after seeing just a little video like that, it makes it all the worthwhile. But the transition now, it's all about grassroots, education, business, all these sorts of things that you prepare for life after football. So I'm enjoying spending more time with my kids and also my family.
A lot of elite sportsmen do struggle with that transition. They find it very difficult. Have you got any advice for them?
I think for me is I've had a lot of amazing moments in my career. But I've also had a lot of moments that have been challenging, injuries, setbacks, being told I'll never make it. And I think the biggest motivation for me is my darkest moments have been my best moments, because that's the motivation that has put me where I am. If you see me scoring a goal, I'm always searching for the next goal. I don't live off what I've done, I live off on what I'm going to do tomorrow. So I'm highly motivated. I like to inspire people, I like to inspire kids. And the reality is, I kick a ball, I love to kick a ball. I don't see it as a job, I see it as a pleasure. I've said it before. Stress is my mum having 3 jobs growing up. Remembering those memories of how hard it was for my parents to raise 4 kids, to rent, to move, Kingsgrove, Tempe, all these places. So I knew very early, very young, that I was always the kid that saved money I put in a shoebox. And I was always thinking about life after football, or how I was going to buy my parents a house or do something special for people in need.
It sounds like experiencing hardship early in your life kind of set you up almost for success later on from what you learnt from that.
Yeah, because, it's great. I've played all over the world. Lucky enough to be in England for 15 years. I then moved to New York, challenging city for an Australian sportsman playing for New York Red Bulls. I went from being a professional just on the park to having to learn about the commercial world, playing alongside Thierry Henry, playing against the players in the league like David Beckham. And that was when I realised commercially and business is a whole different sector. I then took the leap to China, 2 years. Ni hao, everyone. So 2 years I lived there. I took my family, my children, my son still now, he's 7, can say hello, good night, goodbye in Chinese. We lived in Shanghai. When you talk about cities, 30 million people in one city. That's where I lived and I played. I played for Shanghai Shenhua. Amazing team, and obviously blue, because blue's my colour. And then I moved to Hangzhou Greentown, a smaller club. They said a small city. When you go in China, there is no such thing as a small city because it's millions. The airports are crazy. And I love the experience. I love the culture. Through that, I then come back to Australia for a little bit in Melbourne. And I finally finished in India, 7 months. And it's funny because it has a great alignment with business, great alignment with now being a shareholder of companies, having 10 children's books, selling over 200,000 copies in the last 4 years, taking it international, 6 different languages. I've dealt with many currencies, RMB, US dollar, pounds, euros, rupees, Australian dollar, and I understand tax, currencies. I'm learning now about commodities, oil. Russell said gold's the way to go. You said that, Russell, so I'm going to hold you to it. So for me, it's nice because I want to challenge myself as a business and as a person now for the next stages. So I found it a real easy transition and also an educational transition, especially being close to this sort of group.
Okay, we'll talk about your interest in the financial markets soon, but I want to talk a little bit more about what you've been doing since you left professional football. You've always been passionate about grassroots football. Tell us what you've been doing in that space.
I've just been in Lebanon. Been fortunate enough to be with the president of FIFA, Mr. Gianni Infantino. I was with Jose Mourinho, Kaká, Marcel Desailly, Laura Georges and Samuel Eto'o, and also the CEO of the FIFA legends, Yuri Djorkaeff. And we were doing the second sort of like pilot program for football for schools. So we're in Lebanon. And we basically teach life lessons, educational lessons, things that are important, values. We leave equipment there. We spend time with the kids. We have interactions. And to be a FIFA legend, to be part of that group is massively humbling, but also to give back because the plan is to spend tens of millions over the next 5 to 10 years and also to give away 11 million footballs over that time. So I see myself as more than just the footballer. I see myself as, someone that can do really great things with my career, what I've created, and not just domestically in Australia, but internationally, which is much more important for me. And it's just a massive privilege to be a part of that.
You're also involved in a school building program with FIFA. What's that about?
Basically, being involved in building schools around the world, being involved in projects that, whether it's in Africa, Middle East, Oceania, I think it's part of the bigger plan to use our power as footballers. It's the biggest game in the world, most watched. When the World Cup's on, the whole world stops. And I'm very fortunate to be involved in these projects and programs. And with family and also doing my coaching license because I want to be a manager. These are the projects that also make me feel great. It makes me, want to wake up in the morning and do as many as possible.
So how did your interest in the financial markets start?
I think I have no choice. I'm very lucky I've got Chris Elder here, who's part of my team, him and his son. We're a 3-man band. and we're very safe. You know, we don't really challenge ourselves too much when it comes to financial sort of stuff. We like to make sure that all the bills are paid, the tax bills, mortgages, school fees, you know, because you've got to think about life after football. And when you've got 4 children, you've got a big family, you have to think about, you know, you might want to take time off work for 2 years. You have to pay yourself a wage, you have to open up companies, you have to, you know, my oldest boy's 16, my next boy's 14, my daughter's 7, my youngest son's 7 and my daughter's 12. I need to be able to pay their school fees for the next 15 years, whatever it is, university. So the way that I see it is financially you plan as soon as you have children, you know, trust funds, all this sort of stuff. So I think being in all those regions in the world and understanding the power of, you know, the pound's the most, you know, it's the best sort of currency to earn because it's the strongest. You know, the Australian's very weak.
Still at the moment with Brexit, is that okay?
Yep, so we can't really spend Australian dollars at the moment, so you have to use the other accounts. But no, financial's everything. You know, I'm good at what I do, so I know I'll always earn money, but it's the way you take care of that money. It's having a vision for making it last a long time and also to be creative. And I'm excited for what's coming. You know, sitting with Winston and Jimmy and sitting down and talking about how we can do more in this sector. And when they talk about how they're going to help people, how they're going to give back, the due diligence to producing excellence. You know, both of them are young, charismatic characters with big goals. And that's what I like. I like people like this that challenge this market. And also for myself, you know, I either hit the back of the net like you see or rosette. And I enjoy doing it. But at the same time, it's a calculated market that takes a lot of attention to detail.
You must have a lot of opportunities come your way. You must be able to pick and choose what you're going to put your energy into. What was it about ACY Securities that you saw as a good fit for you?
Yeah, I do pick and choose really well. With Chris and Jake, we talk about longevity in the brand and the legacy and what we want to create and what we want to leave when I'm finished as a footballer. 2015, I started writing my children's books. In every single school, and they're an autobiography in layman's terms for kids of my life, being told I was never going to make it, making the grade, trying to, you know, always fight hard to be in the group. And then alongside with that, for example, I'm with Weet-Bix for 14 years. You know, Weet-Bix feeds millions of children, not only in Australia but around the world. Breakfast clubs, you know, last time I was here, we were feeding kids out west. Parents can't afford to feed them. We do a breakfast club across the whole of Australia. I did a grassroots program for the last 6 to 8 years. Free grassroots program in schools, thousands and thousands of kids. The power of the brand, of making them give back and understanding that there was no pathway for me. So ACY is a different sector. It's financial. It's something that I'm interested in. As I said earlier, I'm a shareholder of a few companies. I like business. I like banking. I'm very safe with my money. Chris, as you know, term deposits only at the moment. But it's something that I've always sat Russell down one-on-one, and I got him in a headlock, and I say, how am I going to do this? You know, why gold? Why oil? You know, Brexit's coming up. It affects me in a big way. Living in England now.
Tell us a bit more about that, yes. I mean, it's a total nightmare, but what does it mean for the financial markets?
Well, you have to wait, because if you're sitting on Aussie dollars or US, you have to wait, because every day there's a movement, and it's not a movement of a dollar, it's thousands, you know, when you want to buy a house and change it to pounds. So...
a lot of uncertainty at the moment, and that's why you're staying safe.
It's more about politics, more than anything. And I think that's the advantage that these guys have, because it's not about knowing, it's about being reactive to the situation and prepared, because you can press the button in a split second. And I think that, you know, that they know exactly the market, and it does can change with a tweet here and there. But I'm really excited for it because I'm nearly 40, and it's something that I'm really interested in.
I'm just interested to know what does being a brand ambassador actually mean? What will you be doing? Are you just the face, or how else do you get involved?
I think the gentlemen already know that I'm highly involved. I definitely have a strong opinion. I have a strong opinion, especially when you talk about people's finances and savings and where you're going to put your money, and if they do it and I do it, how I'm going to do it, and then learning about it, and then investing. And investing is so many different ways. Nothing's ever guaranteed. But the most important thing is that you understand that as an ambassador, it's my job to educate, people that want to trade, people that are newly coming into this world. And at the same time, I'm very modest. I'm very safe. So it's not something where you have to just go and just press buttons and hope for the best. You've got great advisors and people that have been doing this for years, and at the same time, have the reputation that stands for a lot. So, I think for me, it's a great fit, and it's something that I'm ready to step into this world.
You've had an incredible career, and as you say, you've done so much. I love the Tiny Timmy books. Is that what they're called? Yeah, terrific. What does the future hold for Tim Cahill? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years?
The future is going to be very bright. I'm very ambitious. Currently now coaching at Everton in the Premier League in the under-16s, doing my badges, and doing a lot of international work, a lot of charities, stuff with FIFA, with my also commercial work. But I think I'm definitely going to have a big shot at business as well, to make sure that, I left school at 16. I returned back to school at 39. Not too long ago after I retired, I took a course at Harvard. Took a 4 or 5 day course at Harvard that I had an interview for a year and a half ago. And I was motivated. And one of the things that I learned, without technology and innovation, businesses can't grow. They become stagnant. Was one of the same themes from the case studies that we worked on. And here tonight, when I see technology and then I hear about innovation and they introduce fintech and things like this, it excites me because it's exactly what I'm studying about. And it doesn't mean I work less because I've retired and I was a footballer. It means I actually am going to work just as hard.
It sounds like you're kind of bringing the same sort of energy to this new phase of your life as you did in the old phase. Actually, it's just finance instead of football.
Yeah, finance, business, sport, all merged into one. And an exciting challenge for me to test myself, because constantly throughout my life as a footballer, I put high demands on myself, very strict with diet, nutrition, lifestyle, and being a role model to kids. And that reflects now in the business world. If anything, I've actually gone even worse on, I'm more motivated for nutrition, more motivated for exercise, which keeps my mind fresh and, ready to rock and roll.
Tim, it's been really great talking to you, and I'm sure we've all enjoyed it. I'd like to wish you the very best of luck in this new phase of your life, this new chapter, and welcome to ACY. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big hand. Don't go away too quickly, Tim. I'd like to, we're going to do the official part of the brand ambassador ceremony. And to do that, while we clear the stage, I would like to invite Jimmy and Winson back to stage for a very special signing ceremony. We've got to get you to sign on the dotted line. It's not official until you sign the football. Hey, when the A-League was starting up, there was a lot of debate in Australia whether it would ever compete with rugby league and rugby union here. What do you think? How's it going?
I think just go at your own pace, enjoy it, make sure you give as much as you can to the game. It's the biggest, most played game amongst boys and girls in Australia and grassroots. So we really have to take advantage of that. For me, the main focus is if we can invest into the kids, then the game will be amazing because that's the future. That's the investment.
And just a quick tip, 2022 World Cup.
2022 World Cup. Who knows? Maybe I could be a manager then at a World Cup. Who knows?
Okay, thanks, Tim. Now, please welcome back the founders of ACY, Jimmy Yeh and Winston Sal. And can we please have the memorabilia up on stage? He's signing the soccer ball. There is no going back now, Tim. I would now like to invite our special guests up on stage to join Tim for a photograph. Damien Tudorhope, Trent Zimmerman and Helen Shamho, please make your way up. Okay, yeah, good, thanks Trent. Yes, I know. Will I talk about the lucky draw prize as well?
Yeah, mention it.